Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. Uh-oh, everybody. Welcome back. We're here. We're in it. We're committed to popcorn and beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use that stuff that gets you drunk. Brought to you today by Shiner Oktoberfest. It's that time of year, boys and girls.
Oh,
Welcome.
yeah.
Pretty good show, I think. We got some stuff. Brandon's not here, but we're gonna magically make him appear
If you don't like Elizabeth Banks, then I don't like you.
as we go through. But let's get started quick with the butter on top. I did not get to see it, but you and Brandon did, or you and Frye did. I don't know if he cares what he gets called, but yeah, take it away, dude.
For sure, man. Yeah, our butter on top this week was The Creator. Bum, bum, bum. Some sci-fi action. Look, John David Washington.
Mhm.
I'm going to start with him. I wasn't sold on him. You know, it's big shoes to fill, being Denzel's son. I mean, come on, you can't avoid that there are some, there's a pedigree of expectations, a little bit of a Nepo baby situation that, you know, he's got a lot to live up to. And I wasn't sold on him. He's been in some good movies and he's done a really good job in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think this movie did it for me. It solidified him as his own movie star.
This is the one, huh?
Okay. I think so. Some of the dialogue and some of the acting wasn't great, but I don't think it was entirely his fault because it was a little bit all the way around. Like everybody, they had a decent cast. I think just a lot of the dialogue wasn't up to par, so I don't blame him for some of that shortcoming, but I think this movie really did just solidify him as a bona fide movie star to me.
He's bona fide.
A big blockbuster guy, yeah. Very Star Wars influenced, obviously. I read something that said the director said that, or he actually was the director of Rogue One, I believe, Star Wars.
That's so one of the better ones.
Yeah, you could see a lot of the influence there. I don't like the way the simulants look. So I see why they're hated so much. No, I'm just kidding.
You stick your hand through their head. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's very off-putting. It's like if you want these things to be accepted by people, it's like, why not build them a little more just not scary looking? They're really scary.
Why'd you give them all crazy eyebrows? I don't get it.
Yeah. The kid that plays Alfie, I believe, which is a stupid name, by the way. The kid that, she's great. She, right? It's a little girl. I don't know.
It's a robot. Child.
Yeah. Okay. The kid is great. With the Sinead O'Connor look going on. R.I.P. to her. Yeah. Sturgill Simpson, surprisingly, is in this. I don't know what culture's fascination is with Sturgill Simpson. They had the Scary Movie that was based. I wouldn't say based. Yeah, I guess it was because it's named after one of his songs, "The Dead Don't Die." If you ever heard of it, with Adam Driver and a bunch of other famous people. Don't watch it; it's absolutely terrible. Love me some Gemma Chan, Cersei from the Eternals. Yeah. Good copy and paste, sci-fi action and themes, great visuals. I give this a popcorn and 2.
Popcorn and 2. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
What about Frye? Hit me.
So, our butter on top this week was The Creator with John David Washington. And this is, I think, going to go up there with After Earth. I think it's going to go up there with the John Travolta catastrophe. I can't even remember that film's name. It just ran away from my brain. But it wasn't great. It was silly. There was some really obvious plot points that occurred. John David Washington playing Sergeant Taylor, that's fine. And I get the emotions of killing off humans by AI. But that's a story as old as time, right? We've seen that 1,000 times. And it all gets started because, of course, what happens? AI goes haywire. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything. I think this goes right along your typical plot lines. Of course, humans caused it, and we're the real villain. pinch me when you've seen something new or original about this film. One thing I will say is also the translators. The translators are so goofy. It's 2065, and they're carrying around a record player as a transistor, right? Or as a translator, pardon me. It's literally a like a fax machine that is a translator, and it was hard to suspend disbelief for that section. It's like a telegraph machine that's a translator in the year 2065, where we have very, very human-like AI running around, and there's just some very obvious plot points outside of that one. Lots of silly scenes for it being the future, stuff where you're like, okay, well that's dumb. Why don't they just do it like this? Wait, they have a kill switch on themselves? It's just a lot to suspend disbelief. 10 years later, somehow the radiation has cleared up for the most part in Los Angeles because you have people living in really close proximity to that area. We are taking flights to space. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's 2065. It's literally 40 years from now. And I don't know where we're going to be. Look how far we've come since the year 2000. But it was too much for me. I will say this, as far as compliments are concerned, whoever the location scout is, fantastic job. Chef's kiss on the locations. Some of the most beautiful scenery you will ever see was picked out by this location scout. It is a fun movie for the most part, but the whole save the kid theme with a robot is really hard to get behind. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense. And the kid symbolizes growth within AI and humans as they come together. It's just too much. So, all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give this a popcorn. Hopefully, the crew liked it a little bit more than I did. But, yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times, and this one wasn't done particularly well.
Popcorn in one, he says. Cool. Whatever. I didn't have high expectations for the film, so maybe I was kind of wrong. I haven't seen it yet, but you say popcorn in two, it's got to be good enough. I was just kind of tired of like the whole premise, like,
yeah, for sure.
Save the kid. You got to take this kid across and go to see the lighthouse or whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of that plot. But I'm also hypocritical because I like movies like Children of Men, which is the same. That premise, at least, is the same. John David Washington. Black Klansman was the one that sealed it for me, but that's not an action summertime blockbuster film. So that's cool to see him in this. Right on. Well, moving on to the drunk classic, Slithers, and I believe we've all seen this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that puts us at, I have 7, you have 6, Frye has 4. These are movies that we have not, that were drunk classics that we had not previously seen. So I get the high score, which is, I think, bad. It's not the objective of the drunk classic, but it's a fun little side game. Yeah, Slither. I brought this one up. It's Nathan Fillion. I didn't know until I just recently watched it. James Gunn, Elizabeth Banks, MVP.
Yeah. Yes,
every time,
for sure.
No matter what she does. And I forgot his name, and I'm sorry, but the father from Mallrats and also Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Merle from The Walking Dead.
Merle. Yeah. Oh man, his scene when he's handcuffed to the rooftop in the very beginning is one of my favorite bits of acting. Like when he goes through all the stages of mania in a few seconds. It's really one of my favorite scenes ever. Anyway,
for sure.
Tangent, Slither, good movie. I thought it was fun, funny, and cool special effects. I'm sure a lot of it was practical, but a lot of it was obviously not practical.
Yeah.
One of the things I like the best about this movie is the monster changes almost every time you see it. So whenever there's a scene involving the alien Slither monster thing, that it's a different version or a furthering to let you, I don't know, like one scene it's him getting the monster in the chest. The next scene he's got little penises that come out of his chest. And then like there's a new version of what's happening. And the one that really shocked me the most was when the mayor falls in the basement and there's just people down there eating and like, well, don't you look at me and all that. Man, I forgot about that part. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's a really cool horror scene, honestly. It's just good. Like there's psychological stuff when she's explaining like she doesn't want to be doing this, but this is what it is now. Oh man, I liked it. It's not really a scary movie. Even the jump scares weren't really scary, but it was exciting horror type alien from outer space film. Alien from outer space, living experiences love for the first time, and that's the only reason the human race got saved was because he was so distracted by that. Pretty cool. Popcorn and I say popcorn and 1.
Yeah, I went popcorn in 1 as well. Just some great lines, some comedy lines, even just right from the get-go, the mayor, get the F out of the way. And the whole family's like, oh, hi, mayor.
Yeah, really good. And I mean, I said it before last episode, but I've always ever since said, meat. Every time, like ever since then, that's been one of my lines that just pops up throughout my life.
He's like, I'll take 10. No, 15.
16.
I love the kid crossing the street. He's like, yeah, maybe if you had a gyna, you'd be all right. It's like, what's a gyna? It's where the Chinese people come from.
I love Fillion. It's nice to see him. Even on his TV shows, he's great. Just got his own style.
He's funny in this one. It's I got a little bit of a theme going this week, so you'll quickly see some body snatchers, aliens, whatever it is, body snatchers. Obviously, if I unintentionally watch 3 movies that involve some form of body snatching aliens, it's a little bit of a very, I don't know if it's overused, but it's a very used trope, and it's often not. It almost sometimes seems like a cop out for alien movies, like an alien plot. Like they just they want aliens and they couldn't come up with something that's like, so they go, oh, let's have them body snatch people, and
they couldn't afford a costume.
Exactly. That puts it together for me for sure. It's just a whacked out movie from the get go. It's like, whoa, some grossness going on, some craziness. Super entertaining. Just all the way through. I hate the name Starla. Every time someone would say it, I'd cringe. I'd be like, oh my god. Yeah, what in the country western?
But it really nails down her like backstory or whoever she is as a character. Like she's like butter on top type of, I don't know, debutante.
She's the prom queen. Yeah, the Southern prom queen for sure.
Baby.
It's classical horror, but I guess it's relatively modern. Like, when does this movie come out? 2001, 2, 3?
Late 2000s.
Late 2000s. It's a modern, but it seems like a OG horror film.
Yeah.
It's not the most original premise, as I said, but it's executed very well, much better than some other movies that follow that same theme.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a popcorn in 1 for me.
But just every time you encounter the alien threat in the film, it looks different or there's something new going on. And that's a really, really good idea for horror at all. I mean, Jason can be scary because he's Jason. There's always the constant that can be scary too. But the fact that we don't know what this creature is or what's going on, but all these are clues as to what he's trying to do. And that's take over the world, become one mind and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But at first you think he's just an alien that eats meat. It's cool. Seeing that is a set little, almost a side story.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. So, Frye, what's up?
Slither as our drunk classic. And I've got to say one thing first. If you don't like Elizabeth Banks, then I don't like you. Because I think Elizabeth Banks is fantastic. She is one of the best doing it. She's one of the best in those character roles. From 40-Year-Old Virgin all the way to, I guess, Slither, even Power Rangers when she played Rita. She's fantastic, and she's a great director as well. If you get the chance and you're into something totally obscure, go see Cocaine Bear. On to Slither. One of the critiques that was lobbed at me, because it's not my favorite movie. I don't like it. I don't think it's a great movie. but I did rewatch it. But one of the critiques thrown at me was, wait till Frye figures out it's a James Gunn movie. Well, guess what? James Gunn has made some clunkers, to include Brightburn, also starring Elizabeth Banks. Wasn't a great movie. However, one thing, if you can immerse yourself in this universe, the movies are fun. Slither is a fun film. I think that one of my favorite lines from this film was delivered by the mayor, and he says, you ever hear that? You ever seen anything like this before? I watch Animal Planet all the time, and I've never heard of anything like this. And I thought that was fantastic. I laughed out loud. All right, I haven't heard of anything like this, and I watch Animal Planet all the time. That was fantastic. Obviously, you're not going to see anything about aliens on Animal Planet. But I do see a pattern here with the Gunns and their obsession with outer space, because really what put them on the blockbuster map would have been the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which is in fact an aliens film. They do have a salute to Jaws in this film, which I really like at the very end. You'll know it when you see it. Please watch it. Josh, I'm not going to tear this film apart. I love that it was only an hour and 45 minutes. I love that you get Nathan Fillion, Jenna Fisher from The Office very early on. There's some fun scenes. The alien slicing a guy right in half this direction, right? But I'm going to go ahead and give it a popcorn 1. If you immerse yourself in this universe that they've created, in this little small town atmosphere with their small town problems, I think that you'll enjoy it. It's funny enough, it's quirky enough, and it's got a good enough storyline to keep you along for the ride.
Thanks for that. But what have you been watching there, Jordan?
So I got a double feature in this week at the theater. I went and saw X, Saw 10.
You see Saw, dude?
I saw it. So everyone's favorite horror anti-hero, John Kramer, is back. Tobin Bell, who is the Jigsaw killer, he's fantastic, as he is in most of these movies. The one thing I always say with these is, why do we need to get a child involved in like such a gruesome horror movie? And he doesn't just play the sideline. He is heavily involved in some Saw antics. It's not good. Yeah, that was very hard to watch.
Kids, unfair.
Yeah. This movie takes place between Saws 1 and I believe 2. I think. Yeah.
Oh, some weaving.
Yeah, it's a pre-sequel. But you have to see part 2 to understand what's going on. So if you wanted to watch these chronologically, shit, I mean, yeah, you have to watch part 1, then you have to watch part 2, then you probably have to go back and watch this one. But then again, there's a credit scene which you don't want to miss that you wouldn't understand unless you've seen like 3 or 4. So the timeline is multiverse of madness going on right there.
That's kind of cool. Do they change anything, or they just add to the plot, like enrich it?
They do very much. They do it very well, but they also kind of retcon a lot of. And if you don't know what that means, they just kind of like, oh, this happened because he has amnesia and he forgot that this whole thing happened.
Yeah.
They kind of retcon a lot of the character development, some of the relationship dynamics between characters, because it features the girl from part 2. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything because that's a great twist for part 2. The big ambush reveal that these movies are known for at the end, where they're like, oh, they're showing like 4 different twists that are going on at the same time. Doesn't actually reveal anything in this movie. It's super predictable, very underwhelming, but it's a decent pre-sequel. And I would say it's super necessary to the timeline of these movies. It's just not completely well executed at times.
I heard that it's being regarded so far as one of the better Saws.
Yeah, for
Did
sure.
you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That's not a hard argument to make. Some of them have been completely atrocious and unoriginal.
Some of them have been completely atrocious. All of them have at least one cool trap that's like, ooh, that was a good one. So, definitely. Like, what was the trap scenario in this movie? Was it good?
They were pretty. Also, I'm using this word a lot. They were underwhelming, kind of unimaginative,
Oh.
except for the one that's advertised in the poster and in the trailer, which it completely gives it away. But it also ends up having a kind of darkly funny twist on that. So yeah, that was a bright spot in the movie for sure. But it kind of makes sense in the timeline in that he's kind of just beginning his thing, and he's also the movie takes place in Mexico, and he's kind of on this pilgrimage for a reason, and so he's kind of just making do with what's available. He's kind of MacGyvering a lot of these traps and things that he's doing. So I guess it makes sense. So maybe I might take that back and say that everything it fits and it's good. Now that I
Cool.
think about it, saying it out loud brought it all to me. It's torture porn. That's to be expected. This movie invented kind of more or less that gory.
At least in America, for sure.
Yeah. It's hated by some horror fans. It's it's a cheap cop out to just let's just be gross, and that makes it good horror. But I always love these movies for some reason. I've seen almost every one of them since I was a kid, at least 1 through 6. I've seen them all in theaters.
I've seen 2 through 6, and I've seen 2 and 3 a few times. I thought they're pretty cool. There's corn to it for sure, and it's overindulgent at times, but most horror movies are. And just like Paranormal Activity, it's the same company, right? Like same guys, and they milk the idea, whether or not that's them. It's milked. They squeeze every drop out of this concept, and you can see it sometimes. But whatever, that's what's up, dude.
Yeah, you got to be doing all right though to spawn 10 sequels. In theaters for the most part. I think they've all hit theaters.
Pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, it's a trend in the right direction. I give it up, but I still have to give it a high tier popcorn. Like if you like the Saw movies, you're really gonna like this. If you don't, you're obviously gonna hate it. Because there are just haters of Saw. They don't watch this stuff.
Yeah, it's
not for everyone.
Yeah. What
it's
about
hard to watch
like Final Destination? Same kind of thing. Like, yeah, okay, we get it, but I still like those movies. They're still good.
Dude, 1 and 2 are.
Well, 3 was good. The DVD had like a choose your own adventure kind of deaths. They had extra
that's
deaths.
Right.
Anyway, what else you got?
So I watched 1982's The Thing, some John Carpenter action.
Whoa, okay.
Had never seen it. It's been on my list for a while, starring Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Shape-shifting aliens in the Arctic. A bunch of scientists. They never give a reason, I don't think, as to why they're all there. And there's like multiple countries. There's like a Swedish base, and they go there, and they've all been murdered, and then they end up tracking this alien parasite thing back to their lab, and there's some dogs and some soldiers and stuff goes crazy. It's a big psychological kind of thriller, but it also has its really big gross out moments. Relatively decent effects for its time. For 1982, they pulled off some
for that. I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, they pulled off some stuff that holds up pretty well today. The acting is terrible. I don't know what this thing is that they do throughout the movie where they pause and fade to like a transition to the next sequence, like an old TV show, I guess. I don't know, but it's just kind of like, all right, like at the end of the episode, start the theme music again. And then, so the whole thing is it's body snatchers. Again, this alien kind of eats people and morphs into them. And they're kind of trying to throw you off as to who has become one and who isn't. They're all just kind of finger pointing and blaming each other. And it's just kind of everyone kind of enters the room and they're being talked to, even if they're one of these things or not. And they just have this 1,000-yard stare like, oh, yeah, I'll go check on that. And then they're like, are you just being a weirdo because you end up not being an alien? Like, why would you be normal and act that way? In its time, I could see the love for it, but for now, I'll sneak it into a popcorn and one territory for how classic it is and the effects hold up.
Okay, so I haven't seen the movie, but I've looked into it a lot, and I really do mean to see it. So I don't have much opinion here, but I have extensively watched all the fan theory stuffs about what the ending means. Did I think I have? Yeah, like they both know they're gonna die, right? Or the ending is like it's up for discussion. Like, what do you think happened?
Well, the thing is, you don't know if either of them have become one of the things or not.
Uh huh.
So they're like, oh, do we kill each other or just sit here and freeze to death? But the thing is if the thing freezes, it can unfreeze and then start killing people. That's how they end up transferring it from one
Right.
base to the next. So they're kind of like, yeah, we've been through hell and let's just not fight it out. Like they just don't care. Neither of them.
Yeah, I like that. That's an open-ended ending that is seems to have been done well. You know, not
Yeah,
a lot of
I
those
think
get pulled
so.
off.
For sure.
Big time. That's what's up.
Yeah, that is on Peacock, by the way. You can stream that on Peacock. The next I watched, No One Will Save You on Hulu. This has been heavily advertised to me on social media. For some reason, I'm in the algorithm for this movie. Caitlin Dever is the star. She is the like the lesbian friend in Booksmart. If you've seen Booksmart,
No.
the girl version of Superbad, as Frye refers it as.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the more petite friend. You know her face if you've seen her. She has some, I guess she has some social issues and lives in a secluded home. Aliens show up in the middle of nowhere and they start body snatching, of course, because that's what aliens do.
Body snatching.
They probe the butts and they snatch the bodies. The aliens just look so plain. It's like when you draw an alien, like when you imagine one, that's exactly what they look like. Like the big round head, the bug eyes, they look exactly cookie cutter alien. But the thing that they do well about this is that they make different variations. So they look the same, but like one is like small and really fast, and one has like long tarantula arms and they can climb over houses and stuff. And I thought that was a really cool element. I don't think I've seen much of in alien films. But just the way they mess this up is that there's too many close-ups of the aliens, like very slow close-ups that give away some really bad special effects in this. Like,
yeah,
they could have kept it more ominous and like in the shadows and stuff, and that would have made it so much more scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, they completely stole the Nope thing where the UFO moves under like cloud cover. So like the clouds are coming, she's like running from them, and if you've seen Nope, you're like, wow, that's a ripoff. If you haven't seen it, you're kind of like, yeah, that's stupid, because it didn't work really in Nope either. I think
Nope was a cool movie.
I thought it was cool for sure. It was something super interesting and original, but I didn't like it. Anyways, I'll review that because I do want to watch that again. I've only seen it since theater.
I'll do a back review back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rewind.
The interesting thing about this movie is there's only a handful of words spoken. Like I'm talking 3 words in the whole movie. Yeah, but in that, right, it moves at a very good pace. Like you don't feel bored. Like it's not noticeable that there's no dialogue. The only thing that is annoying is that the whole movie she's just hyperventilating. Like a lot. The whole movie. It makes you almost feel like you're hyperventilating.
It'll make your mom say, "What are you watching in there?"
Yeah, for sure. And there's times in the movie where like, surely somebody is about to speak here. Like this. Yeah, exactly. No, there is a lot of that. You're like, oh, there's a conflict. There's like a meeting. Yeah. There's like, okay, these people that are coming towards each other, and then are they gonna? Yeah, no, they do.
They just walk right past each other like in high school,
pretty
with
much,
their head down and everything.
Yeah. There's a couple of really tense scenes. It takes place in 2023, but for some reason she has a rotary phone, and she's handwriting and mailing letters in a mailbox. I'm like, okay,
it's not like she's like Zooey Deschanel, just quirky and like I'm weird. I have the hamburger phone still.
No, yeah. But there's no dialogue to explain that. Like, there's nothing that gives away that you would understand that.
That's the only thing they did was explain. It's really cool that we have these rotary phones back, and then that's the only lines that are.
Yeah. Like, she's literally trying to like call the police or something because aliens are in her house, and it just rips the cord out of the wall, like out of the phone
Oh
thing.
no!
It's like,
oh no!
Yeah, I wanted to give it a popcorn and one. It could have been great, I think, but as I expected, they couldn't land this flying saucer. The ending tried to be they tried to be philosophic, but it was just really dumb at the end. I give it a popcorn.
Cool, popcorn one.
Yeah.
Doing a lot of horror. You got some more horror?
No, I think that's it for horror. But I did get to watch Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, and you have to call it Guy Ritchie's The Covenant because that's how it's online on the scrolling, the movie, the menu scrolling. It's always Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. So hey, this guy's got this guy's got an ego, I guess. Whatever, he makes some good movies from time to time.
He's got a great brand. I mean, you know what it's going to be when it's Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. War in the Middle East, squad of enemy munitions chasers. So they're out there looking for IED factories and weapons caches and what have you. It's about the squad leader's relationship with his interpreter, how they kind of got each other's back and so on. Interesting dynamics at play here. Jake Gyllenhaal is as great as ever. Anthony's, he's always good. I don't think he can miss at this point in his career.
Jakey.
Anthony Starr, aka Homelander, is in it. He has a very small part, and it's just he plays Homelander so well that it's unsettling to see him doing anything else. You're like, no, he can't be a good guy. It's no, I don't buy it. There's really good firefights in this movie that I kind of wasn't expecting. I was expecting more just drama. There's lots of drama in this movie, but it just breaks into some really good action, war fighting sequences. I thought it was just a really great movie with a good message about how we kind of just, for better or worse, just said peaced out the Middle East and left a lot of these interpreters that were kind of promised, these protections and visas and things like that.
Yeah.
And we kind of just like, sorry, go through the proper channels. Good luck.
Right.
I give it a popcorn and 3. I give it a popcorn and 3.
Popcorn and 3. Movie. All right.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a war movie though. So everyone that I've talked to that's seen it says they recommend, oh, have you seen this movie? It's great. Yeah. I agree. And so I'm going to lead you into my last thing I watched. A little bit of Henry Sugar. A little bit of Sugar Daddy on it. Netflix. It's on Netflix. There's no one better to do a Roald Dahl adaptation than Wes Anderson. I could totally. He should do a Wonka movie for sure. He would kill that, I think, or also even like a James and the Giant Peach. I could totally see a Wes Anderson. Those. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Again.
I don't know about that one. I love Matilda. I love the original. It's so.
It's it can't be topped. I wasn't going to mention that, but I did start that a couple days ago. Like I got the first 15 minutes. I'd never seen it, so I'm going to finish that next week.
Okay, good. I love that movie. It's short and sweet. We had a little bit of a debate in our channel chat about whether you can consider this like a feature film or if it's just like a short film. Is it an episode? What is it? It's like 40 minutes, I believe. About 40, 42
something
minutes.
Something like that,
yeah. Star-studded cast. Small cast. It's a small film, so it's not a lot, but they do cram in the stars. They've all performed at expectations. I thought Dev Patel's scene was hilarious. But the man who can read without his eyes, like that kind of first sequence with him, was hilarious. It's the same old tricks. The same old tricks, but some pleasant new ones. I love the character narrating himself.
Oh, the way he flipped back to the camera hard and flip back to the scene. It's so good.
It sets up a lot of the comedy scene elements of it just so well. It's like I saw myself watching this with this like crappy grin the whole movie. Like,
Yeah, the whole movie.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
not one joke is told, but the timing is so perfect throughout the
Mhm.
movie. Mm. It just makes
Yeah.
things so funny. The way lines are delivered and the way scenes change instantly, or the way the fourth wall is broken. It was yeah.
I give this
Beautiful.
a popcorn in 3 as
Poppin'
well.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw that movie too. I saw it pretty quick. I noticed in the morning that it was out. And then you said that there were more that were coming.
Yes.
Yes, and I think they're out because I
Yeah.
also watched The Swan, which is a same style, but it's only 15 minutes long. And there's another one that I haven't seen yet because I ran out of time.
I think
But
there's 4 total.
it's going to be 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm always biased because I love Wes Anderson. I just love his style so much and his attention to detail, and
Mm-hmm.
he curates art for us. And it was so good. The use of the whole movie was like a living diorama. So clever too. The way they would create depth with flat spaces, and the art that, like, they'd have all these facades that were just painted by hand and moving in and out of the scenes. It reminded me of have you seen Anna Karenina
No.
with
I love that title
Keira
though.
Knightley?
No.
Anna Karenina is a wonderful movie, and
How do you
maybe I'll
spell
make that a classic.
Karenina?
The way it
Just
sounds,
kidding.
with a
Yeah,
K.
okay.
Missippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was. I bring that up just because that's the only other time I've seen this where the movie is being shot as if it were on a stage and happening in front of your face.
Yeah.
So scene changes are a matter of people coming on and giving you a jacket and then changing the facade. Everything's moving and shifting, and it is they create movement and space and motion with so little. It's masterfully done. Great acting. I love everyone's in it. Everyone in it so deadpan. I mean, it's a joy to see this. The Swan was the same style, but it took place in a different setting and totally different story. These are just wonderful short stories that are, I guess, for the first time being brought to light because they were recently discovered. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of beautiful, weird, just weird. Your mom's not gonna like it.
He had the luxury, being short, he had the luxury of not having to flesh out too much of a plot or, a character and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I say popcorn in 3. That goes for Henry Sugar and The Swan. I'm positive the rest are going to be the same. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I watched, because of all this One Piece talk and a little bit of Cowboy Bebop talk last week or the week before, I watched Rurouni Kenshin. I think it's just called Kenshin, maybe. I don't know. The first, there's been 2 or 3, maybe 4 subsequent films for Rurouni Kenshin. It's one of my favorite animes as a kid. He's the samurai in kind of like Last Samurai times when it's starting to be outlawed, with Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And he used to be the one, like John Wick type. He was the one they'd call for kills, and now he's turned it all around. So his katana is dull on the sharp side, and it's sharp on the dull side, so it's opposite. So when he fights you, it's all non-lethal. That's the whole idea. But if you flip his switch, he'll flip the sword. It's an anime. So,
Okay.
but
Hey, I like it.
It's really good. He uses history, and it completely blows it up out of proportion, over dramatizes it, and creates these fantastical characters involved with the storyline. But this is where the Gatling gun was introduced, and so it's the samurai versus the Gatling gun. Pretty cool. The live action film was pretty loyal to the first few episodes of Rurouni Kenshin. Not sure if that's good or bad. Like Frye said with One Piece, he really couldn't quite get into it because it's so overdone. It's just kind of strange seeing people act like an anime. It's just a little much. It's just like how Family Guy can do so much because it's a cartoon. They're allowed to do these things, like batter people with blood on the walls, and just or Big Mouth with the terrible lewd dialogue and stuff. It's something cartoons can do. Live action, not so much.
Yeah.
They do a good job to make it look like the anime, but I don't know. I liked it because I like the anime. I'm not sure an outsider would appreciate it whatsoever. So
Yeah.
popcorn. Okay, moving on to the good stuff. I saw Michelle Wolf stand-up special on Netflix. It's a 4-part, I think, or 3-part. And so it's just like 3 or 4 short sets. And they're good. Michelle Wolf, if you're not sure, she's the redhead, curly hair, very white woman who famously roasted the entire Republican Party to include Trump in Trump's first or second press conference dinner thing. You know, they always
And they
had the comedian
canceled it.
there.
They stopped having it, I think, after that.
Yeah, she ruined it. It was for Trump's period. He had the one. They didn't know who they booked, and she even said that in her set. She's like, "Make sure you do some research before you hire somebody, just so you know." And she roasted everyone. And it was so eloquent. It was all on Fox News, and everyone it was like outraged. She had a TV show because of it on Netflix for a while, or some kind of program.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I think her style of comedy is very of its own personality, its own attitude, and it's quick and sharp as a knife. She had this really cool, made me laugh joke. She said she was with her friend who got a boob job, and they went to the beach and they're topless, and her boobs look great. She was, "Hey, your fake tits are really amazing," and the woman's like, "Fake tits?" And she's like, "Well, yeah, you got a boob job, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she just, I guess, was upset that they were not being called just her tits, not they had to be fake tits. And then she looks at the crowd and she's like, "You guys wouldn't call them real tits, would you? They're fake tits, right?" And everyone's like, "Yeah." And then she says, "So I guess we're all a little bit transphobic, huh?"
Oh, dang.
She just gets you with the lasso. It was a good joke. I like her humor. Not for everybody, I'm sure. Yeah,
she's
I think
funny. I can't stand her voice though. She's just her the shrill.
I don't know, man.
She's like a female Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, maybe so. And I think it might be a slight affectation, if not full.
Yeah,
maybe not. But I grew up with a huge crush on Fran Drescher, so I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
Didn't we all? Anyway, yeah, popcorn and 1, pretty good stuff. So my last one that I watched is one of the better films I've seen in a little while. Pretty good stuff. I discovered it on Amazon Prime, called Cassandro. It is the true story, I didn't find out till the end, true story of a little Mexican boy from Juarez who joins the luchador circuit and wants to be one of the greats. And he starts off as just one of the fall guys because he's the little squirrely kid. But he develops this character called Cassandro based on the telenovelas, and he's all the way out. He's very flamboyant. He actually, his personality in the costume and in the ring is very much like Blanche from Golden Girls, but gay man. It was it's a really strange.
I know what
set,
you're talking
but it was
about
the 80s, and he was playing a character, a wrestling character. So it was well executed, but it was funny. He would do a move on somebody and they'd get up all mad and he'd look at him like, "Oh,"
That was well done.
But yeah, it turns out it's a true story, and he paved the way for a lot of athletes, kids or wrestlers and all that to come out. That was mentioned in the film. He insisted on being a contender because back then they're called exoticos. They probably still are, but it's a type of wrestler like the big fall guy, the heel, the exotico, like Goldust perhaps. But they're meant to always lose. That's just how it goes in the luchador circuit back then. You're exotico, then you're just one of the weirdos that comes in the ring and the hero beats you. But he's like, no, sometimes I win. And they made it happen that way. And it's good wrestling cinematography. It's really simple, 1 or 2 cameras, and it's a real pro wrestling match, and it's pretty good. It's nothing over the top, but it's good. The story's really great. It's a lot to do with him having a father that abandoned him, and so it's just him and his mother. They live together, and they're trying to come up, and she's still obsessed with the father. He Cassandro, I forgot his real name, is dealing with. Oh, he's the product of an affair. She was the other girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's a lot of that. And it goes through what it's like to be a poor kid trying to be a wrestler, And what's really good about it is they show the montage where he's starting to come up, starting to train more, beefing it up, get the program going. He's doing a little bit of coke. He's partying. He's hitting himself with the steroids, like a shot in the leg and all these things. However, that all goes down and stuff happens throughout the movie. But usually when you have a montage like that, there's a rock bottom and it's a plummet.
Yeah.
Not the case here. It was just like showing you what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
hey, he did a little coke, he partied a little bit, did some steroids. Everyone's doing it. This is what it is.
Sometimes it works out just fine.
Yeah. That's what the wrestling was back then. When you had some money going and all this, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Boogie Nights in that way, but not a ton. Just the way it was kind of shot and the come up. And anyway, it was really cool to show him with his gay relationships in a very homophobic Mexico. He's dating a wrestler who's not out and has a wife and kids.
Oh,
really raw, really real, beautiful story. You know, nothing that's going to be a huge tearjerker, but it was really strong themes, and I liked it. And the fact that it's real, and he's a real wrestler called Cassandro. I believe he's still active, so that's pretty cool. I give that a popcorn and popcorn and 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it English or is it like Spanish or is it
It's
dubbed
half
over?
and half. Yeah, they jump back and forth like the way I'm sure a lot of border Mexicans do. They go in and out of English, and I think that's it's very real, and I loved it. But it's a good story of being gay and successful, making it on your own, being a poor kid who comes up, being true to yourself. It was beautiful. Now I'm rambling. Go see it, Cassandro on Prime. I think that's all we got. Yeah, so now we're going into
right.
I think Frye's going to tell us the drunk classic.
Last but not least, I get to choose the drunk classic this week, and we're doing horror. Obviously, this is going to release in October, and Josh chose Slither, so I'm going to go ahead and choose a classic starring Julia Roberts and Kiefer Sutherland. I'm choosing Flatliners. All right? Flatliners from the 90s. Please enjoy. Hopefully they don't tear it apart. I think they've both seen it, but like I've said before, I'm not in it to get them with the game we play of have you seen it, have you not. I'm in it to make sure that really quality films are watched by our audience, and whether you like it or not, at least you can say you saw it. Thanks so much for having me. I'm sorry I couldn't be with the crew, but we will see you next week.
So Flatliners, huh?
Yeah.
Kiefer. I'm not sure. I think I've seen the second one. I'm not sure if I've seen this. I'll have to verify that when I turn it on. So maybe it's a point for me. Have you seen Flatliners?
I have not. I've read about it a little bit, so I'm aware of it, the plot, and it's a cult classic film at this point. I would say the original, not for everybody, but some people really love it for some reason. So
okay,
I'm excited to see it for sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's get spooky.
Yeah.
And then what about the butter on top?
Yeah, we got some real scary action coming for we're kicking October off right. I believe we decided on The Exorcist.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah. Now,
no, is this a remake or is it?
It is a sequel.
A sequel.
It is a sequel because the mother from the original is in it, and they make references. I've gathered this from the trailer. They make references to the girl from the original.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that's what's up. Well, appreciate it. Thanks for being out and listening in, folks. You can catch us on other things.
Yep,
Gorp,
Twitter
for instance. We're talking Halloween soon. Keep it spooky this month. What'd you say about where are we at on the Twitter?
On Twitter at Popcorn and Beer.
X.
On X. Yeah, on X.
Yeah. And you guys thanks, see you at the movies. I'm really bad at signing off. Bye, guys. Nice.